Video games. What are they? To some people, video games may be a way to blow off steam after work or something. Maybe something to do when they come home from school. Other people, it's their livelihood, and some people love to play video games competitively. But that's not what video games are to me. What video games are to me is a sort of narrative experience. Something that you can't get from, say, a book or a movie. In a book, it is completely up to the words and the imagery to sort of paint a picture in your mind. And for a movie, it's usually down to the actors and the writing. So why start this video essay by saying that? Well, it is important to understand where I'm coming from and why what I'm about to say matters. Because this isn't sort of critiquing how this series of Halo has sort of fallen out of fashion when it comes to just modern day gaming. And I'm not gonna talk about, say, oh, well, the multiplayer isn't just right, or the custom games launcher isn't as good as it used to be. No, it's not really anything multiplayer related. It's actually about the narrative and the direction that Halo has gone within these past couple years. Now, the exact issues that had happened behind the scenes, behind Halo's development, is a very long story, and there's a lot of videos already covering the topic, and this is not one of those. I'll leave a link in the description to a couple of them that I find very interesting and very informative. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that this is talking about how Halo stands currently as a story, and not how it stands as a game. Because these are, to me at least, two different topics. Where Halo stands as a game is completely different as to where it stands as a story, because the story aspect is one aspect of Halo, and the game aspect is another aspect of Halo. Now, usually they go hand in hand because, well, you can't have Halo without a story, and you can't have Halo story without a game. So that's what this is about, is talking about how the Halo story as a whole just recently hasn't been feeling the same, and how it sort of lost that charm, that, so to speak, magic. But to understand the context behind why the writing as a whole changed is because Halo was originally made by the game studio known as Bungie. They now currently make Destiny, but originally Bungie had made the Halo games: Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and finally Halo Reach. And so after Halo Reach, Bungie and Microsoft's contract of them working together was terminated, and so because of that, Microsoft wanted more Halo games since they did own the rights to it, and so they created 343 Industries, which was pretty much an inside company made from Halo fans and old Bungie developers and workers to make this new generation of Halo games. And so why this matters is because this shows a shift in writing. Now, the writing that they went with was a bit different, and for the first 343 Industries made Halo game, which was Halo 4, it was pretty well received as a whole from the Halo community. It definitely was like mixed at first, but eventually, over time, people realized, hey, it's, not that bad. The story, it's okay. And so the problems don't really kick up until Halo 5, where Halo 5 had, they made a lot of questionable decisions, like changing painting the main character as like this sort of villain, and then the false marketing campaign where they assumed that the Halo's main character, Master Chief, was supposed to be this bad guy, and something happened, and you as the player were supposed to bring him in, which was a really cool concept that was never fleshed out. And so what we did get was an unfinished game when it came to story, as Halo 5's story ends on a cliffhanger. And I'm okay with cliffhangers, personally, and I'm sure a lot of people are, but the thing is this cliffhanger isn't fully explored, because we waited about 6 years to get another Halo game, which Halo Infinite finally came out in 2021 of December of that year. And when it came out, we had to wait a couple more months to get the campaign, which, you know what, fine, I guess, it's a new title. But when the story came out, and everyone who played through it, there was no continuation from Halo 5. They had simply done a 1 to 2 year time skip, and so this is where, like, the plot holes started to occur. And the reason why this matters is because it felt like lazy writing, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who felt this way, but a lot of people did as well. And so not knowing what happened at the end of Halo 5 and just being automatically shoved into a new situation and a new plot for the viewers and just overall people who are experiencing it, it wasn't, it was weird at first, and so I personally decided to give it a chance, as well as many other people, because, first game in like 6 years, so maybe they changed, it seemed to have a very promising start with all the marketing, right? The problem is that they did it again. At the end of Halo Infinite, there is yet another cliffhanger to those who have not played the game, who have played the campaign specifically, is that there is yet another cliffhanger, and they promised that there would be a DLC detailing being a continuation, so not detailing what happened after we had finished the main campaign, and that never came. And so they kind of went back on their promise and just focused on multiplayer exclusively, which the problem with this is that we never got any supplemental material for us, people who like the story, so I guess us lore fans, if you want to put it that way, to sort of hear what happened during like this time period, because not only like the entire blackout part where at the end of Halo 5 there wasn't anything to go off of, which was the primary problem that I have had with this, is that they did it again and they didn't really care enough to do anything about it. And so the reason why this just really sucks to me is because I've always held Halo in such a high regard. I wasn't necessarily, born early enough to experience the hype that it had on many communities, because, well, Halo Combat Evolved was released in 2001, Halo 2 was released in 2004, and Halo 3 was, the golden age of Halo, but that was released during 2007, the year I was born, And so, while yes, I never got to experience any of the, events or any of the multiplayer fun that those games had to offer, I did get to experience the Master Chief Collection, which came out in 2014. And for everyone who doesn't know, the Master Chief Collection is just all the previous Halo games compiled into one title, so making them all accessible for everybody was pretty much the goal, which is what they did. But for the most part, I didn't pick up Halo until around 4 years after the Master Chief Collection had come out, so in around 2018. And so the reason that Halo's so significant to me is because Halo's entire story is about believing and having hope, which it found me at a time where I didn't really have much to believe in and I didn't have much hope, which is why I really care about this game franchise so much, is because it genuinely did get me through some tough times. And so seeing the writing just fall out of place like this, it really hurts to watch, and it sucks, because I'm sure many other people also have memories like this. Maybe not campaign memories like I do, but maybe multiplayer memories. But I do know that at the end of the day, everyone did at least experience the campaign a little bit and thought something of it, as well as had an opinion on it. And so why Halo's story matters as a whole is because video games are an interesting medium when it comes to telling a story. You have books, and books, you read them, you see the author convey how the situation is through imagery, and that's that. There's not really much to look at other than just words on a paper. Now, I mean, manga and comics have visuals, but they can't really go into as much detail as they have to focus on putting art on screen, right? Or not on screen, but on the page. But I know what you're gonna think and say, isn't that what TV shows is for? Well, yes and no. TV shows and movies can really be put in the same boat, and that is the boat of you're watching somebody do something and you're not necessarily experiencing it. You're just watching an actor do something on screen, and like talk and convey emotion, which can be very impactful at times, but to me at least, that's not my favorite way to consume story media. For me, my favorite way is through video games, because you're experiencing it in real time. And so that's why Halo's writing not being as good as it used to be, and just not having anything to go off, like just not even anything related to the main story, it sucks. And so it just makes the players feel detached from the story as a whole, when there's very little that's given to us these past couple years, and we just can't really make anything of it. I mean, there's the ebooks that they occasionally release, the audiobooks, which are free to listen to on YouTube, but they're just random stories, they're not talking about the Master Chief or what's going on. It's just like, hey, here's this random story that's going on someplace in the Halo universe right now. And so it just feels more like a anthology, where like it's just like this is going on currently, but not what we should be focusing on. And yeah, that's just basically what these audiobooks are, which they're not poorly written by any means. And so I guess what annoys me is the fact that 343 shows they can write stories like these in these audiobooks that are very good, by the way, but they won't do it for the main story, and that just, it really makes me sad. So the point of this video essay existing is, well, partially because this is for my English grade, so wish me luck on that one, guys. But the real reason is because nowadays there's a lot of video games following the same trope where the stories just aren't as good as they used to be. I mean, look at any modern day Call of Duty game, and I'm sure any Call of Duty fan would probably agree with me that, hey, this new Modern Warfare 2 isn't as good as the original Modern Warfare. And so it's just sort of like this whole thing where video game stories just aren't as impactful as they used to. So while yes, this video is primarily about Halo, it is also like a sort of a message about video games as a whole, and how video game stories are just falling out of fashion, which is really unfortunate, because there are a lot of people out there, myself included, who play video games to experience an amazing story, something that isn't based in reality. And as much as I'd love to keep talking about this, I was unfortunately time constrained to around 10 minutes, and I exceeded it by about 4. But I do encourage people to take away from this that the video game stories as a whole don't have to be bad. There are lots of indie developers out there who make really good stories and could use support. I still genuinely believe that the storytelling through video games is such an important part of modern day culture, and it should be cherished, which is why this entire video exists. Anyways, I just want to thank everybody for listening, whether you're my friends or my audience or just my teacher who's grading my assignment. Thank you, and I kind of rushed this because I had a busy finals week, but other than that, thank you everybody for listening to this.